Chapter 87, The Calamity of the Huiyang Sect. Cao Qing had already lost an arm to Luo Yuebai. The wound was still bleeding profusely, and his breath was growing weaker by the minute. At this point, he was still stronger than most chirofining stage cultivators. However, Su Jingzhen was not intimidated. In Su Jingzhen's eyes, Cao Qing was no better than Chen Jinshi, who was lying on the ground. Even if something unexpected happened, didn't he still have Shuangjiang to rely on? This guy is just a desperate dog trying to jump over a wall, Su Jingzhen thought to himself. In an instant, Su Jingzhen realized that Cao Qing was only being driven to desperation by Luo Yuebai and was taking a risk. Kid, I advise you not to resist. You'll only suffer more if you do. As Su Jingzhen thought this, Cao Qing suddenly charged towards him. Although Cao Qing's aura was locked onto Su Jingzhen, there wasn't much killing intent present. From Cao Qing's perspective, Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang were his tickets to survival. If he accidentally killed them, he would be cutting off his own escape route. Therefore, Cao Qing didn't dare to use his full strength at this point. It was almost laughable. Su Jingzhen's expression turned serious, and he divided his internal blood energy into two parts. One part flowed into the surging spring acupoint on the sole of his left foot, while the other part flowed into the labor palace acupoint on his right palm. With a sudden burst of speed, Su Jingzhen shot forward, his entire body propelling towards Cao Qing. The black brick in his right hand also swung out simultaneously. Although Cao Qing's cultivation level was higher, his severely injured state meant that his strength and agility were no match for Su Jingzhen's. The two figures clashed in the next second. Cao Qing's remaining left hand reached out to grab Su Jingzhen, intending to capture him alive. However, what met his left hand was the extremely hard black brick in Su Jingzhen's hand. The palm and the brick touched, and a crisp, cracking sound echoed out. Cao Qing's left arm suddenly drooped, and his flesh was a mess of blood and pulp. After this blow, Cao Qing's body stumbled again, and he retreated in a flurry. The black brick in Su Jingzhen's hand had many small, protruding spikes, which made it quite deadly. As Cao Qing retreated, a look of shock and horror appeared in his eyes. In that instant, Cao Qing finally understood why Chen Jinshi had been killed with a single brick by Su Jingzhen. It wasn't a coincidence at all. All along, Cao Qing seemed to be reacting after the fact. Only after reacting did he realize that he had treated Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang as soft targets, which was utterly ridiculous. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Sometimes, making the wrong choice would cost one's life. Su Jingzhen's expression was cold and detached. After breaking Cao Qing's left arm with a single brick, he took another step forward, his body bursting with speed. In an instant, he caught up to Cao Qing, who was still unsteady on his feet, and looked into his terrified eyes. Su Jingzhen raised the brick, aiming for Cao Qing's chest. No! Spare my life. Although Cao Qing had once been a high-ranking figure who had killed many people for his own gain, in the face of death, he was still consumed by fear. The desire to survive ultimately made him beg for mercy. But if begging for mercy was useful, perhaps there would be no more killing in the world. Boom! Without hesitation, the brick struck Cao Qing's chest, and the powerful force shattered his internal organs, turning them into mush. In an instant, his life force dissipated. Cao Qing's body collapsed to the ground, never to stand up again. I used too much force again, Amitabha, have mercy. Looking at Cao Qing's lifeless body, Su Jingzhen began to mutter to himself again. This corpse didn't look any better than Chen Jinshi's. However, the black brick in his hand was still spotless. He simply put it away. At this moment, Su Jingzhen had undoubtedly become the center of attention in the entire square. It was impossible to keep a low profile anymore. Well done, friend Su. At this time, Luo Yuebai also closed his folding fan and restored his elegant, refined appearance. He smiled and walked towards Su Jingzhen. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 173. As Luo Yuebai praised Su Jingzhen, a line of golden characters appeared in front of Su Jingzhen's eyes. He gained 2 points, but Su Jingzhen's face was bitter. Because when he saw the point change, he also saw the gazes of the onlookers around him. shock, fear, and even a hint of disdain. It was clear that they also saw him as a demon. This situation seemed impossible to explain with just a few words. After all, from 2 days ago, he had been frequently appearing in public with Luo Yuebai, giving the impression of a close relationship. And today, during the destruction of the Huiyang sect, he had consecutively taken out Chen Jinshi, who had just been promoted to an inner sect disciple, and Cao Qing, the vice sect master of the Huiyang sect. These were both heavyweights. Even though he had sufficient reasons for each of his actions, and was forced into a corner, would the onlookers care about that? The reality was that he was now seen as a demon, in cahoots with the evil path. Su Jingzhen suddenly felt that he had been calculated by Luo Yuebai. With Luo Yuebai's strength, he could have easily killed Cao Qing in the sky earlier. He had deliberately let Cao Qing reach a desperate state. It seemed that everything was just going with the flow of Luo Yuebai, and Su Jingzhen was already forced to be labeled as a demon cultivator. And it was a label that was nearly impossible to wash off. Seeing that Su Jingzhen didn't respond to his enthusiasm, Luo Yuebai's smile remained warm and gentle, but he didn't say anything more. He flew up into the air, looking down at the entire square. His breath changed back to its previous cold, detached state. Evil Moon sect disciples, listen up. Clean up the Huiyang sect cultivators, and leave no one alive. Under the energy's wrapping, his voice resonated throughout the entire square. Immediately, the black-clad Evil Moon sect disciples sprang into action. Even though a large part of the Evil Moon sect disciples had previously been from the Huiyang sect's palaces, they now received their orders and went to search again. The Huiyang sect's cultivators were destined to disappear completely today. Luo Yuebai's aura at this moment was only at the foundation establishment stage. It was probably in the later stages of foundation establishment. However, when he gave the order, the 8 golden core cultivators standing on the square looked extremely gloomy. But not one of them stepped forward. The situation was already completely under the control of the Evil Moon sect, and the 8 of them looked extremely awkward. If they didn't want to see what the Evil Moon sect was going to do, they would have left long ago. The onlookers who had come to watch the Huiyang sect's awakening ceremony were still trembling with fear in the square. However, they didn't dare to run wildly anymore. Because from Luo Yuebai's words, it was clear that the Evil Moon sect was only targeting the Huiyang sect this time. Once the dust settled, they might still be able to escape with their lives. Su Jingzhen returned to Xianxia's side. Xianxia's face was still calm with the same coldness. Su Jingzhen felt that Xianxia must have foreseen all of this. She probably had already known about Luo Yuebai's identity as well. Unable to hold back his curiosity, he asked, "Miss Xianxia, you said earlier that there was still something to be done here. What was it?" It was within Xianxia's expectation that Su Jingzhen would ask this question. Xianxia replied calmly, "I'm just going to retrieve something that belongs to me." Xianxia's words sparked Su Jingzhen's curiosity even more. He knew that after Xianxia returned, she hadn't taken any solo actions. So, where was she going to retrieve her belongings from? As he thought about this, his gaze unconsciously drifted towards Clearwind Mountain. Su Jingzhen was no fool, and he was quite intelligent. Many things only required a slight hint to understand. From the beginning, he had felt that Xianxia was connected to Clearwind Mountain. Now, Xianxia was saying that she was staying here to retrieve something that belonged to her. Could it be the thing that everyone on Clearwind Mountain was fighting for? Before Su Jingzhen could ask again, Xianxia continued, "And now, I might have a general direction." As she spoke, Su Jingzhen could sense that Xianxia's tone had softened slightly. Her words also hinted that her departure was approaching. After understanding the implication of Xianxia's words, Su Jingzhen was taken aback for a moment. He felt a mix of emotions in his heart. Although he hadn't spent much time with Xianxia, he had grown accustomed to having her by his side. No matter what he was doing, he never felt any fear, just like now, when they were in the midst of a major event. All his confidence came from Xianxia. Su Jingzhen then asked, Is Shuangjiang, did you already know about Luo Yuebai's identity? Shuangjiang nodded calmly, that's right, I discovered it the night he moved in next door. With Shuangjiang's cultivation, it was easy for her to gather information in this region, and no one could hide anything from her. It's you. Su Jingzhen's eyes showed a hint of doubt upon hearing Shuangjiang's words. As if knowing what he was thinking, Shuangjiang asked, do you think there's a difference between the demonic path and the so-called righteous path? This question caught Su Jingzhen off guard. He initially wanted to say that the demonic path was brutal and evil, but then he thought again. Huiyang sect, which claimed to be a righteous sect, had done things that were far from just. When it came to self-interest, the methods used by so-called righteous cultivators were perhaps even more ruthless than those of the demonic path. He had seen this for himself in the past 2 days. On the surface, they were all about virtue and justice, but behind the scenes, they were stabbing each other in the back. In his opinion, Huiyang sect was nothing but a gang in Linjiang City. And this wasn't unique to Huiyang sect or Linjiang City. So in a sense, there was no difference between the demonic path and the righteous path. A bitter smile appeared on his face as he looked at Shuangjiang and said, the power used is different, the style of action is different, but in essence, there's not much of a difference. It's all about fighting for resources to seek immortality. When Su Jingzhen replied in this way, Shuangjiang's eyes showed a hint of surprise. She had originally thought that Su Jingzhen, who seemed so innocent and harmless, would despise the demonic path. But emotional connection +8. Emotional connection +8. Remaining usable points, 189. Su Jingzhen didn't expect his words to elicit such a response from Shuangjiang. He felt a mix of excitement and surprise in his heart. Shuangjiang nodded slightly. Since there's no essential difference, then who you side with is up to your heart. I told you before, Luo Yuebai is someone you should keep a distance from. If you can't do that, then try to become friends with him. That's the best choice for you. And now, it seems you can only choose the latter. This is just a balance I'm leaving for you. Your alchemy talent is your greatest advantage right now, but how you use it is up to you to decide in the future. As Shuangjiang spoke, her tone became softer than usual. This was also the first time she had spoken so much to Su Jingzhen at once. In Su Jingzhen's eyes, her words had a hint of final instructions. As for the meaning behind Shuangjiang's words, Su Jingzhen quickly understood. Balance. This was nothing but balancing Luo Yuebai and Feng Qingye. Luo Yuebai was from the demonic path's evil moon sect, while Feng Qingye was from the neutral treasure gathering pavilion. Moreover, from today's events, it was clear that these two were not simple individuals. And they both valued Su Jingzhen highly. If he could perfectly navigate between the two, he wouldn't be completely controlled by either side. But the emotional connection he had formed with Luo Yuebai was still difficult for him to accept. He couldn't get past the psychological barrier. Before Su Jingzhen could respond, Shuangjiang continued, You're excellent, but your fatal flaw makes you pitiful. If one day you can rely on your alchemy path, which is incompatible with the world, and stand before me again, then I might be able to give you a chance. As Shuangjiang spoke, her tone was still unusually soft. And for the first time, she was directly praising Su Jingzhen. If it were the past Shuangjiang, she probably wouldn't believe she would say such words to someone. It was all due to the emotional connection she had formed with Su Jingzhen over time. And their emotional connection had already reached the level of slight fondness. So some things came naturally to her. Emotional connection +8. Remaining usable points, 197. The points changed again, directly approaching the 200 mark. Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat again. Damn, he was just 3 points away from directly opening the right surging spring acupunt. At the same time, his heart was filled with complex emotions. He knew that with Shuangjiang's personality, after saying these words, she would probably leave. As the two of them conversed, the demonic cultivators had already begun to emerge from the various buildings of Huiyang sect. They gathered once again in the square. Boom! At this moment, a loud explosion sounded. The statue of Hu Yang, which had stood in the Hu Yang sect square for who knows how many years, was directly toppled by the demonic cultivators. It shattered into 4 or 5 pieces. The collapse of the statue proved the complete downfall of Hu Yang sect's Linjiang branch. Luo Yuebai once again wielded his folding fan, standing in midair. His gaze swept across the entire Hu Yang sect square. Then it fell on the 8 golden core cultivators, whose faces were still unnatural. We, the Evil Moon sect, will take over Linjiang City and its surrounding 100-mile radius from today. If you or your sects have any opinions, we, the Evil Moon sect, will personally visit you. As soon as Luo Yuebai spoke, the entire square fell silent once again. The 8 golden core cultivators' faces were filled with uncertainty. However, at this moment, they finally confirmed one thing: the Evil Moon sect had ultimately failed to restrain their ambition and had begun to expand. Linjiang City was just the first, but definitely not the last. Neither Li Nanshan nor the Vice Sect Master of Spirit, Sound Valley, dared to reveal their stance immediately. The 8 cultivators exchanged a glance and directly flew away. Hu Jiang sect has sown the seeds of karma on Clear Wind Mountain, and today they have reaped what they sowed. We will report everything the Evil Moon sect has done to our sect. Not bad, Hu Jiang sect deserves its punishment, but it is not that easy for the Evil Moon sect to act recklessly. At this time, each of the 8 golden core cultivators dropped a harsh sentence. Then they directly flew away into the distance. These 8 guys seemed unwilling, but in reality, they had already completely distanced themselves from the situation through their harsh words. Firstly, they explained that the destruction of Hu Yang sect's branch was a consequence of their own actions, which was their way of washing their hands of the matter. As for the Evil Moon sect occupying Linjiang City, although they didn't dare to express their opinions, they had to maintain a stance of righteousness. These guys were all old and cunning, and now that they knew about the Evil Moon sect's ambition, they just needed to report back to their sect honestly. The sect's decision wouldn't affect them, and they wouldn't suffer any losses. Luo Yuebai's mouth curled into a cold smile as he watched the 8 golden core cultivators leave. He only sent them off, without any intention of truly keeping them back. After all, they were 8 golden core cultivators. After the 8 golden core cultivators left, the remaining non-demonic cultivators on the square looked increasingly terrified. All the disciples of Hu Yang sect's branch had been annihilated. Their lives were now in Luo Yuebai's hands, seemingly dependent on his whim. At this time, Luo Yuebai approached Su Jingzhen again. "Friend Su, the problem you were worried about earlier has been completely resolved by me. No one will come to settle scores with you again. Now, what do you think should be done with these people?" Luo Yuebai's tone was as casual as ever when speaking to Su Jingzhen. However, Su Jingzhen's heart had already begun to curse. "Damn it, why are you asking me about this?" It seemed like he was being given the power to decide the fate of these people, but in reality, he was being bound to the demonic path. Su Jingzhen believed that if he said a single word, "kill," Luo Yuebai would unhesitatingly order the demonic cultivators to slaughter everyone on the scene. Demonic cultivators were not to be trifled with. And if he said, "let them go," Luo Yuebai would likely release them generously. No matter which choice he made. It seemed to the onlookers that Su Jingzhen was giving orders. "Fallen Taoist, you're joking, right? This is Evil Moon sect's business, what does it have to do with me?" Su Jingzhen still wanted to struggle a bit. Luo Yuebai smiled again. "You're wrong. I destroyed Hu Yang sect's branch earlier because you were afraid they would take revenge, so I did it for you." The implication was that he had done it all for Su Jingzhen. Luo Yuebai continued, "If friend Su truly doesn't make a choice, I'll have to take matters into my own hands and kill them all, to prevent them from harboring resentment towards you in the future." What? This was directly pushing all the consequences onto himself. But in his heart, he felt helpless. At this time, he really had a feeling of being unable to resist. And Shuang Jiang next to him was still expressionless, and of course she couldn't care about this matter. "Friend Su, please spare our lives, considering our past neighborly relationship." Sir Su, although we didn't have much interaction, we didn't have any grudges either, right? Friend Su, please spare our lives. Zhang. Earlier, Lu Yuebai's words hadn't been intentionally spoken softly. Everyone around had heard it. At this time, they undoubtedly saw Su Jingzhen as their savior. Their pitiful expressions were truly heartbreaking. In the end, these people were indeed innocent. Most of them were just struggling at the bottom of the cultivation world, trying to survive on the long and arduous path of cultivation. Su Jingzhen sighed. He had no grudges against these people in front of him. Cultivators were selfish and cold, and Su Jingzhen could be ruthless, but he couldn't bring himself to kill innocent people indiscriminately. If possible, friend Luo, please spare their lives since they're just innocent people. Su Jingzhen sighed and said so. When Su Jingzhen said this, Lu Yuebai's smile grew even more radiant. He lightly snapped his fingers, and soon, several people were brought over by a group of demonic cultivators. Lu Yuebai smiled playfully, and what about these people? Are they also going to be spared? Su Jingzhen's gaze fell upon Chen Chong and several masters from Qiuliu school. At this time, these people's eyes were filled with terror. As soon as they saw Su Jingzhen, they immediately began to beg for mercy. Friend Su, you're a magnanimous person. Please spare our lives and treat us like a trivial matter. Friend Su, Chen Chong had some misunderstandings with you earlier, and Qiuliu school is willing to surrender. Please spare our lives, friend Su. Zhang. Under the shadow of death, the things they had pursued earlier had become insignificant. Chen Chong's support was already lying on the ground with a tragic death, and his own life and death only depended on Su Jingzhen's thoughts. What else was there to hold on to? However, Su Jingzhen's mouth curled into a cold smile. He, Su Jingzhen, would not kill innocent people indiscriminately, nor would he be a benevolent saint. If not for Shuangjiang's existence, Su Jingzhen might have already been killed by Chen Chong's arrangements. He didn't seek trouble, but he wouldn't let go of his grudges so easily. These few people, friend Luo, I'm sorry to trouble you. This sentence was almost equivalent to issuing a death sentence to Chen Chong and the others. At this point, Su Jingzhen had already given up, since he was already labeled as a demonic cultivator anyway. He might as well enjoy the convenience brought by this label. Lu Yuebai smiled and gave a nod to the demonic cultivators. Chen Chong and the others were immediately taken away, awaiting their inevitable fate. Su Jingzhen, I'll haunt you even in death. Su Jingzhen, I'll be waiting for you below, and you'll definitely meet a bad end. Zhang. Their pleas for mercy were in vain, and what followed was a barrage of curses. Su Jingzhen was helpless, but had he done anything wrong from the start? It seemed not. However, he no longer cared. At this time, his gaze turned back to Luo Yuebai, his expression becoming serious. Friend Luo, you must be very clear about the situation on Clear Wind Mountain. I want to know what's going on there. Can you help me find someone? Since Luo Yuebai was going to bind him to the demonic path, he was currently unable to resist. So it was natural for him to use the other party's power to do something. When Su Jingzhen spoke, Luo Yuebai's expression suddenly turned serious. Although he didn't know why, he could sense that Su Jingzhen had some unspoken opinions about him. It was clear that he was keeping a distance from him. Now that Su Jingzhen was seeking his help, Luo Yuebai naturally had to take it seriously. What do you want to find, and where is it? As long as the Evil Moon sect can do it, we'll definitely do our best. To be honest, Luo Yuebai knew that Su Jingzhen was extraordinary, but he still didn't know the specifics about him. But this was the way of the demonic cultivators. Once they confirmed something, they wouldn't ask about the reasons. It was the same whether it was killing someone or making friends. Luo Yuebai wanted to get closer to Su Jingzhen, but he wouldn't break the pot to ask about Su Jingzhen's bottom line. Su Jingzhen didn't hesitate, directly saying, Xianxia, she's Ening Yao's mother. A few days ago, she followed the Huiyang sect's main force to Clear Wind Mountain, but she hasn't returned yet. Su Jingzhen's tone was still laced with concern as he spoke. Luo Yuebai's expression, however, suddenly froze. He knew Xianxia, but he had never paid attention to her. After all, Xianxia wasn't an important figure, and the evil moon sect wouldn't deliberately focus on her. But now, even if it was just for the sake of building a relationship with Su Jingzhen, he would still do his best to help. With Enning Yao's terrifying spiritual roots, if he could establish a good relationship in this matter, it might have an unexpected impact in the future. Luo Yuebai's expression turned somewhat unpleasant. "Don't worry, friend Su. I'll send someone to investigate immediately, but you might not need to hold too much hope for this matter." He paused for a moment, then continued, "I'm sure you also know that the Huyang sect was the biggest beneficiary of this Clear Wind Mountain incident. A late-stage golden core cultivator named Long Yunfei, who came from the Huyang sect's main branch, and Kai Tonghua, the sect master of the Huyang sect's branch, joined forces to snatch most of the treasures. Later, under the siege of golden core cultivators from various sects, they still managed to escape successfully, without caring about the lives of other sect disciples. By the time I gave the order to take action, the Huyang sect disciples on Clear Wind Mountain had almost all been wiped out." When Su Jingzhen heard Luo Yuebai's words, his heart sank again. But he still held onto a glimmer of hope. "I beg of you, Taoist." When Enning Yao left, he also promised the little girl that he would take sister-in-law Zhang Ziyu to find her in the future. If Zhang Ziyu had really fallen on Clear Wind Mountain, he didn't know how he would face Enning Yao in the future. Initially, he had known that Clear Wind Mountain was extremely dangerous, but he thought that sister-in-law Zhang Ziyu, with her late-stage Kai refining cultivation, would be fine as long as she was careful. But he had never expected that things had developed into this situation. If this matter ultimately led to an undesirable outcome, could he blame the evil moon sect? Probably not. "Don't worry, friend Su. I can't guarantee she's still alive, but if she's alive, I'll find her. If she's dead, I'll find her corpse." As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Yuebai took out a strange insect from his storage bag, the same kind he used for communication. After a mysterious energy wave, the insects flew out of his hand and headed towards Clear Wind Mountain. Since the evil moon sect had openly destroyed the Huyang sect's branch and occupied Linjiang City, it was likely that their people were also on Clear Wind Mountain. "Thank you," Su Jingzhen bowed to Luo Yuebai in gratitude. However, his body language still maintained a certain distance. Luo Yuebai smiled and didn't mind. As for Su Jingzhen, Luo Yuebai still firmly believed in the 4 words, "The future is long." Luo Yuebai had never failed in his attempts to befriend someone out of curiosity. After killing those who needed to be killed, under Luo Yuebai's instructions, the evil moon sect's cultivators didn't bother the innocent people on the square. They let them leave. As they left, they all bowed to Su Jingzhen in gratitude. "Thank you, friend Su, for sparing our lives. Friend Su, if you have time in the future, please visit us at the Listening Rain Alley, and we'll welcome you with open arms." "Thank you, friend Su, for saving our lives. From now on, you will be my second parents." At this time, these people had already determined that Su Jingzhen and Luo Yuebai were on the same side. Their gratitude was directed only towards Su Jingzhen. However, there were still many people who, on the surface, expressed gratitude but secretly despised him. After all, in the cultivation world, it was difficult for these self-proclaimed righteous cultivators to suddenly accept the demonic path. Su Jingzhen felt helpless, at least in Linjiang City and the surrounding areas. He was stuck with the identity of a demonic cultivator. But to him, it didn't matter. Linjiang City was now the evil moon sect's territory. In the short term, Su Jingzhen didn't plan to leave this place. All the matters were being handled by Luo Yuebai and the stronger cultivators of the evil moon sect. Here, he could finally enjoy the peaceful life he had always dreamed of. Besides, after Shuangjiang left, his source of points might focus on Feng Qingye. Su Jingzhen's goal had always been very clear. At this time, among the crowd that had dispersed, 2 gazes with complex emotions were fixed on Su Jingzhen. They were none other than Yan Zia and her father, Yan Xianxia. Damn it, why didn't he say he was a body cultivation expert from the start? Even if his danshan was broken, cultivating body cultivation would still be possible. Yan Zia's teeth were clenched, her lips red, and her eyes filled with complex emotions and regret. However, she didn't dare approach Su Jingzhen again. She directly followed the crowd and left the Huiyang sect's branch. Soon, the square of the Huiyang sect's branch was left with only the evil moon sect's cultivators, Feng Qingye, the white-haired old man, Su Jingzhen, and Shuangjiang. The Huiyang sect's branch had just been destroyed, and many areas were still battle-scarred, needing to be cleaned up. For the evil moon sect, it was a time of great change. Naturally, there were many things to handle. Luo Yuebai said to Su Jingzhen, "Friend Su, the matter you entrusted to me earlier may take some time to resolve. The scenery here is quite good, and the spiritual energy is abundant. You can find a place to rest for now. I'll come to notify you once there's a result." Su Jingzhen nodded lightly. "You go ahead and handle your business, friend Luo." At this time, his eyes still held worry. Seeing this, Luo Yuebai nodded and left. As soon as Luo Yuebai left, Feng Qingye walked towards Su Jingzhen with a gentle smile. "Nice to meet you, Taoist Shuangjiang and Taoist Su." Feng Qingye's smile was natural and charming, but when she looked at Shuangjiang, her eyes revealed a hint of seriousness. After all, Shuangjiang was someone who could drive away senior Juchai with one word, and it was only natural to show respect. Shuangjiang remained expressionless, but Su Jingzhen's mouth curved into a faint smile. He knew his own identity and had already been seen through by Feng Qingye when he took out the black brick. He didn't intend to hide it anymore. In fact, when he formed a connection with Feng Qingye, he didn't think he could keep his secrets hidden for long. Sometimes, being open and honest made things easier. Su Jingzhen smiled at Feng Qingye. "Miss Feng, you're even more beautiful today than before." Feng Qingye chuckled and replied, "Thank you, Taoist Su." Feng Qingye's expression suddenly turned slightly serious. "Let's find a place to talk." She glanced at the surrounding area, where Chen Jinshi and Cao Qing's bodies were still lying, and frowned in disgust. Su Jingzhen nodded, "Okay." The four of them walked towards a pavilion on the edge of the square, where there was a stone table. After they sat down, Feng Qingye looked at Su Jingzhen with curiosity. "Taoist Su, are you planning to join the evil moon sect?" Feng Qingye naturally understood that Su Jingzhen's actions, starting from killing Cao Qing, were all part of Luo Yuebai's plan. She had talked to Luo Yuebai last night and had reached a cooperation agreement. She knew how powerful Luo Yuebai was and that Su Jingzhen was just a novice cultivator. She was worried that Su Jingzhen would be swayed by the evil moon sect. After all, Su Jingzhen's registration at the treasure-gathering pavilion only prevented him from registering with the Alchemist Association, but it didn't have any restrictions on other matters. The treasure-gathering pavilion was a neutral merchant force that didn't care whether the people they did business with were from the righteous or evil paths. So whether Su Jingzhen joined the righteous or evil path didn't matter to them. Feng Qingye knew that the distinction between righteous and evil was just a label. What was most important was that Feng Qingye knew how powerful the evil moon sect was. If she could offer Su Jingzhen benefits, then Luo Yuebai could too. Otherwise, Su Jingzhen would be wasting his talent as a genius alchemist. When Su Jingzhen heard this, he couldn't help but think of Shuangjiang's previous mention of the balance path. He smiled and said, "I'm just a wandering cultivator. My goal is freedom, and I don't plan to join any sect for now." Su Jingzhen's words were already hinting at something. After all, his source of points, aside from the daily fixed amount, would mostly come from Feng Qingye. Although he could easily get points from Luo Yuebai now, he still felt uneasy and couldn't bring himself to cross his own bottom line. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 199. As soon as he finished speaking, a line of golden characters floated in front of him again. Feng Qingye's points had increased by 2 again. It was clear that she was extremely satisfied with Su Jingzhen's answer. She smiled and said, "It's not bad to be a wandering cultivator. With Master Su's alchemy talent, you can get any resource you want through us, the treasure-gathering pavilion. It's not worse than joining any sect. And as I promised before, if you come to the treasure-gathering pavilion to trade, you'll get the lowest price when buying and the highest price when selling." At this time, Feng Qingye's address to Su Jingzhen had changed from Taoist Su to Master Su. It seemed that this title was more intimate with her treasure-gathering pavilion. Su Jingzhen just smiled and didn't respond. As someone who had lived 2 lives, Su Jingzhen was very clear about how to balance these relationships. Giving Feng Qingye a subtle hint was enough. No need to overdo it. Everything had to be done gradually. After getting the results she wanted, Feng Qingye chatted with Su Jingzhen casually for a while before leaving with the white-haired old man behind her. After all, any treasure-gathering pavilion was absolutely neutral. If they stayed here for too long, it wouldn't be too good. How do you feel, Mu Lao? On the way back to the treasure-gathering pavilion, Feng Qingye's charming smile had completely disappeared, replaced by a serious expression. The white-haired old man, Mu Lao, also had a solemn look on his face. Even at close range, I didn't sense any aura on her body. On the contrary, when she looked at me, I felt like all my secrets were exposed. If what the young lady said is true, that she can drive away senior Jucha in one go with her words alone, then her cultivation level might be at the soul formation stage. As soon as Mu Lao spoke, Feng Qingye's pupils suddenly contracted. But her mouth quickly curved into a smile again. Interesting. This person, no matter what she's doing here, since she values Su Jingzhen so much, it's likely not just because of his alchemy talent. It's possible that Su Jingzhen's orthodox body cultivation is also derived from her. Thinking of this, Feng Qingye's excitement grew. Anyway, a small place like Linjiang City won't be able to keep her. And she probably won't take Su Jingzhen with her when she leaves, so if we maintain a good relationship with Su Jingzhen, we might be able to borrow her power one day. As she thought this, Feng Qingye's expression suddenly became extremely serious. She even looked at Mu Lao with a stern gaze. Mu Lao, regarding Su Jingzhen and Xianxia's affairs, no matter what their true identities are, I don't want anyone else in treasure-gathering pavilion to know. Su Jingzhen, whether now or in the future, will be fully entrusted to me for personal reception. I hope you, Mu Lao, can take an oath on the Tao to keep this secret. Seeing Feng Qingye's sudden seriousness, Mu Lao's expression changed, but he still nodded and stood still. He raised one hand to the sky and one hand to the earth. I, Mu Zun, take an oath on the Tao, as the protector of Miss Feng Qingye, to be loyal only to her in this life. And regarding Su Jingzhen and Xianxia's affairs, I will keep it in my heart and not mention it to anyone else. If I break this oath, I am willing to be struck by 5 thunders and perish. Feng Qingye nodded in satisfaction. She took this matter very seriously and wouldn't be careless just because of so-called trust. In the pavilion, Su Jingzhen sat facing Xianxia. Although the two didn't speak, there was an unspoken understanding between them. Xianxia had already said what she wanted to tell Su Jingzhen back in the square. She wasn't the kind of person who would coddle or spoil others. Nor did she plan to teach Su Jingzhen any more cultivation techniques. Although she had many such techniques at her disposal, Xianxia knew that many geniuses who rose to prominence did so from humble beginnings. If she were to arrange everything for Su Jingzhen, it might diminish his own fighting spirit. As time passed, Su Jingzhen felt a slight awkwardness and intentionally changed the subject by asking, Is Xianxia, when are you going to retrieve the things you lost on Clear Wind Mountain? This was also something he was curious about. Earlier, Luo Yuebai had mentioned that the strong cultivators from Huyang sect had gained the most during their trip to Clear Wind Mountain. Those gains were likely Xianxia's belongings. So if Xianxia wanted to retrieve her belongings, she would naturally have to go to Huyang sect. He didn't know how Xianxia would do this, but he could foresee that Huyang sect might be in trouble. After thinking it through, Su Jingzhen realized that the various factions had paid a huge price on Clear Wind Mountain, only to fight over something that was actually a curse to them. Xianxia raised an eyebrow and replied calmly, I can go at any time. Su Jingzhen was taken aback once again. But he understood that Xianxia's cultivation had increased fourfold, and the aura she had released earlier was definitely not something an ordinary nascent soul cultivator could withstand. Even in Qingzhu's territory, the strongest cultivators from Huyang sect were probably only at the nascent soul stage. Xianxia was indeed capable of coming and going as she pleased. Su Jingzhen tried to make small talk again, saying, Actually, with your strength, Is Xianxia, you could have gone to Clear Wind Mountain ahead of them and retrieved your belongings. The commotion on Clear Wind Mountain had been going on for days, and many strong cultivators from various sects had already gone up the mountain. Yet Xianxia had been staying with him in Peach Blossom Alley. Su Jingzhen didn't think that Xianxia was staying with him out of affection. Xianxia, however, revealed a rare smile. Clear Wind Mountain is vast, and my belongings are scattered all over. I'm too lazy to go collect them one by one. Su Jingzhen was left speechless once again. It seemed that Xianxia was waiting for others to collect her belongings before going to retrieve them. This approach was indeed very Xianxia-like. He wondered how Long Yunfei from Hujiang sect would react when he found out about this. The pavilion fell silent once again. The last time Xianxia left, Su Jingzhen had already given her a jade pendant as a gift. This time there was nothing good to give as a gift, as the trinkets on Su Jingzhen's body were probably all trash to Xianxia. But at this moment, Xianxia took the initiative to speak up. In the future, if you're not forced to, don't reveal your body cultivation in public. Conceal your abilities, and it will be a great advantage for you. Su Jingzhen was walking the orthodox path of body cultivation, and his physical characteristics didn't reveal anything. He could burst forth with power at critical moments, like when he killed Chen Jinshi, catching others off guard and making it difficult for them to defend themselves. Miss Xianxia, don't worry, I've always been low-key and kept a low profile. Xianxia glanced at him, saying nothing more. Just then a sudden gust of wind sounded in the void. Luo Yuebai arrived, his fan fluttering. Since he no longer needed to pretend, Luo Yuebai's aura as a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator was now openly displayed. At this time he looked at Su Jingzhen with a little excitement on his face. "Friend Su, I have allayed." Upon hearing this, Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat. He saw that Luo Yuebai's expression wasn't too serious. Could it be that sister-in-law Zhang Ziyu was still alive? Immediately, Su Jingzhen stood up, equally excited. But before he could ask more questions, Luo Yuebai continued, "The Evil Moon sect still has many disciples remaining on Clear Wind Mountain. After receiving my message, they all dropped what they were doing and searched for Zhang Ziyu. They also brought back the bodies of all the female disciples who died in battle and identified them one by one. Fortunately, they didn't find anyone resembling Zhang Ziyu among the corpses." Hearing this, Su Jingzhen's eyes involuntarily revealed a hint of joy. There were no corpses, which meant there was still hope. But Luo Yuebai continued, "Unfortunately, they didn't find Zhang Ziyu either. They only discovered some clues deep within Clear Wind Mountain. It should be left by Zhang Ziyu." Su Jingzhen's face was slightly stunned, and he asked, "What kind of clues? Can I take a look?" "Perhaps you should go there yourself to take a look, friend Su. That's the only way to confirm it." As Luo Yuebai said this, his gaze at Su Jingzhen was slightly unusual. This made Su Jingzhen even more suspicious and anxious. However, since Luo Yuebai had said so, Su Jingzhen had no choice but to go to Clear Wind Mountain to take a look. Zhang Ziyu was his lifesaver. Since crossing over to the cultivation world, if it weren't for Zhang Ziyu, Su Jingzhen would have died countless times. Just for this reason, he couldn't sit back and do nothing. At this moment, even Xianxia, who was standing beside him, raised an eyebrow. "Let's go, Taoist friend, please lead the way." Luo Yuebai nodded and directly tossed out the fan in his hand. With a flick of his wrist, the fan suddenly expanded to about a meter in diameter. "Friend Su, Taoist Xianxia, please come aboard." The situation was urgent, and Su Jingzhen didn't have time to think twice. Together with Xianxia, he stepped onto Luo Yuebai's fan. Luo Yuebai then controlled the fan, heading towards the direction of Clear Wind Mountain behind Hujiang sect. The speed was extremely fast, and Su Jingzhen felt a thrill of excitement. This was his first time experiencing flight. Although he had sat on many airplanes in his previous life, the sensation was far inferior to the real thing. The mountains and hills below them flashed by rapidly. During this time, Su Jingzhen saw Luo Yuebai catching many strange insects in the void. He constantly changed direction, adjusting their flight path. Before long, they arrived at the depths of Clear Wind Mountain. At this moment, Su Jingzhen noticed that Shuangjiang's face seemed to have a subtle emotional change. Her eyes seemed to hold a hint of nostalgia. This is the place. At this moment, Lu Yuebai had already controlled the fan to descend into the void. The clouds and mists surrounded them, and they were likely in the deepest part of Clear Wind Mountain. Deep in the forest, there was a very deep gorge. On one side of the gorge, over a dozen Evil Moon sect cultivators stood. Greetings, Master Yue. Upon seeing Lu Yuebai's arrival, these cultivators all bowed respectfully towards him. Where is it? Lu Yuebai asked lightly, his brow slightly furrowed. Please follow me, Master Yue. With that, the person drew a long sword and flew towards the bottom of the gorge. Good grief, were they all Foundation establishment cultivators? Seeing this, Lu Yuebai's eyebrows slightly furrowed. But Lu Yuebai didn't say anything more. He once again controlled the fan, bringing Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang along with him. When they reached the bottom of the gorge, Su Jingzhen caught a whiff of a strong bloody smell. His heart couldn't help but worry again. Although the bottom of the gorge was shrouded in a thin mist, everyone could clearly see that there were bloodstains on the rocks and plants. It seemed as if they were extending from the outside of the gorge. Su Jingzhen's heart felt heavy. If the so-called clue was just these bloodstains, the situation was likely to be dangerous. At this moment, Shuangjiang spoke up. These bloodstains still have a faint aura remaining, and it indeed belongs to sister-in-law Xianxia. As soon as Shuangjiang spoke, Su Jingzhen's heart grew heavier. Su Jingzhen had never been to Clear Wind Mountain before. But he was well aware that there were countless ferocious demonic beasts lurking in this area. Xianxia's cultivation at the late stage of Kai refining was considered decent in Linjiang City. However, if they encountered some powerful demonic beasts, it would still be insufficient. If they were severely injured and reached this valley, even if they managed to survive, they would likely be exhausted and drained. Su Jingzhen was afraid that if they walked a little further, they would stumble upon Xianxia's corpse. Master Yue, it's just ahead. The Foundation establishment cultivator who had spoken earlier bowed respectfully to Lu Yuebai. He then led the way forward. Although Lu Yuebai knew some information, he was not familiar with this place. As they walked about 100 meters forward, the bloodstains on the grass and trees along the way became more frequent. When they arrived at this location, Su Jingzhen clearly saw that many of the plants in the valley had been broken. It seemed as though a fierce battle had taken place here. At this time, Shuangjiang's eyebrows furrowed again. Her gaze fell upon the cliffside of the valley. The Foundation establishment cultivator was already standing at the foot of the cliff. There were 2 Kai refining cultivators guarding the area. Friend Su, we've arrived. As they reached this location, Lu Yuebai's gaze towards Su Jingzhen became increasingly strange. He pointed to a corner of the cliffside. Only then did they see that a rock had been carved with a sharp tool, becoming relatively flat. On it were several lines of elegant script, some of which were stained with blood. Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat. After all, he had known Xianxia for over 2 years, and he naturally recognized Xianxia's handwriting. After reading the content of the script, Su Jingzhen was stunned, frozen in place. Shuangjiang's eyebrows rose, and a faint, subtle smile appeared on her lips. On the cliffside, it was written, "Mr. Su, if you say this, it's as if we've met. I don't know if you'll see the words I've left behind, or when you'll see them. If these words are weathered away by time, it will be as if I've written them for the mountain ghosts. Before I met you, my life's desires were simple, to live a peaceful life, free from worries, and for my daughter to be carefree. But after meeting you, my heart suddenly had many desires, to slow down time, to cherish every night, to bask in the moonlight, to have the peach blossoms in the courtyard remain unscattered, and to have you tied to my heart. However, Mr. Su, words are short, but intentions are long. Now I can only gaze longingly, but I can no longer see your drunken, green-robed figure. My longing has stopped at this mountain of 10,000 layers. I know that the heavens are far away, and it's impossible to climb. Perhaps we'll meet again someday, but it will be difficult. 1,000 words, a single book is not enough. I can only say, cultivation is bitter, I wish you peace. Su Jingzhen's heart was in turmoil after reading the inscription. He was certain that this was left by Xianxia. In fact, he had known about Xianxia's feelings for him for a long time. Their emotional connection, mutual affection, was already at a high level. Xianxia had hinted at her feelings many times, but Su Jingzhen had pretended not to notice. On one hand, it was because his dantian was broken, and he didn't want to burden her. On the other hand, Xianxia had been a devoted Dao companion for many years, letting Su Jingzhen's heart be filled with reverence and admiration. He had never wanted to confront this matter directly, but he never expected that Xianxia's final message would be a heartfelt inscription like this. Su Jingzhen didn't know what Xianxia had experienced on Clear Wind Mountain. But he knew that when she left these words, her heart must have been filled with despair. She was afraid to keep these words hidden in her heart, and she didn't have the chance to tell Su Jingzhen. When she went to Clear Wind Mountain, Su Jingzhen was still just a weak Kai refining cultivator. Perhaps when Xianxia carved the inscription, she didn't think Su Jingzhen would ever see it. She carved it out simply to alleviate her regret. Sometimes saying something out loud can bring peace to one's heart, regardless of whether the other person hears it or not. Sister-in-law, you are. After a long silence, Su Jingzhen finally let out a sigh. At this moment, he finally understood why Luo Yuebai's gaze had been so strange earlier. It seems that this Xianxia has long had deep feelings for friend Su. But it's just that it ended up being a case of falling flowers have intentions, but flowing water has no heart. Luo Yuebai sighed. His words didn't carry any mocking tone. No one knew what Xianxia's situation was like when she carved these words, or what emotions she was feeling. But they could sense the reluctance and longing for Su Jingzhen in her words. What else could this be but deep emotional roots? Su Jingzhen didn't choose to respond to Luo Yuebai's words. He looked around and said, "Fellow Taoist, is this the only clue here? Is there anything else?" At this time, Su Jingzhen's heart was still filled with worry. He subconsciously opened the emotional connection with Xianxia. Emotional connection with Xianxia, mutual affection. Level bonus 4 times. Cultivation bonus 1 time. The interface was still stable, without any changes. Su Jingzhen didn't know if this meant that Xianxia was also safe and sound. But at least it was a comfort. When he said this, Luo Yuebai shook his head. We are already close to the deepest part of Clear Wind Mountain. The demonic beasts living here have mostly reached the 2nd level, equivalent to Foundation establishment cultivators. There are no bloodstains or signs of anyone passing through in the surrounding area. Luo Yuebai thought for a moment and then said, she was able to escape to this place and spent some effort leaving these words on the cliffside. It's likely that she had some special abilities. Friend Su, you might want to take a closer look at the words on the cliffside. You might be able to find something else. When Su Jingzhen heard this, he looked at the words on the cliffside again. His heart skipped a beat. He suddenly saw some key words. This journey, the heavens are far away and cannot be climbed. This journey. Where did sister-in-law Xianxia go? She knew she was leaving, and the place she left was very far away, and there was no hope of returning. When he saw this, Su Jingzhen's worries suddenly eased a bit. Xianxia clearly knew she was leaving and left these words behind. Even if Xianxia was helpless at the time, she still left proof that she was alive. Alive meant there was still hope. Sister-in-law, I promised Yaoa that I would take you to see her. I can't go back on my promise to the child. Su Jingzhen muttered to himself. At this time he saw Shuang Jiang walking towards the cliffside with the inscription. She seemed to have discovered something. Seeing Shuang Jiang move, Su Jingzhen followed her. Shuang Jiang's cultivation was extremely strong, and it was only natural that she could discover clues that others might miss. At this moment, Shuang Jiang's eyebrows were slightly furrowed, as she lightly touched the rock with the inscription by Xianxia. It seemed as if she was sensing the power of the ages. but her eyes seemed to hold a hint of surprise. Her gaze swept towards the depths of the valley and the direction they had come from. A good sword mark, Shuangjiang murmured to herself, causing Su Jingzhen's eyebrows to furrow again. What do you mean, Ms. Shuangjiang? Su Jingzhen asked. Shuangjiang shook her head. Nothing, perhaps you don't need to worry about sister-in-law Zhang Ziyu. As I expected, she should have her own destiny. As she spoke, Shuangjiang headed towards the depths of the valley, surrounded by a thin mist. Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat as he closely followed Shuangjiang. Luo Yuebai instinctively wanted to follow, but suddenly felt a cold, oppressive aura enveloping him. Looking at the backs of Shuangjiang and Su Jingzhen, Luo Yuebai's mouth curled into a bitter smile. He wisely stopped in his tracks. This aura came from Shuangjiang, and he knew it was a sign that she didn't want him to follow. Master Yue, the Foundation Establishment Cultivator, looked at Luo Yuebai, then at the inscription on the cliff wall. Luo Yuebai shook his head. No need to bother, no need to destroy, let's wait here for now. As Su Jingzhen followed Shuangjiang deeper into the valley, the surrounding temperature seemed to drop even further. Su Jingzhen didn't know how far he had walked. Along the way, he didn't seem to notice his surroundings. But he vaguely sensed a fierce, oppressive atmosphere in the void around him. The mist that swept past his body made his skin feel as if it was being cut, causing a sharp, stinging pain. Miss Shuangjiang, where are we? The further they walked, the more Su Jingzhen's heart raced. The oppressive atmosphere in the void seemed to grow stronger with each step. Moreover, he felt that the spiritual energy here seemed to be growing thicker. It was even more intense than the square in the Huiyang sect. Shuangjiang didn't directly answer his question, her gaze sweeping around the surroundings. I never thought that in this wild and barren domain, there would be such a strange place hidden in the depths of the forest. After muttering to herself, her gaze finally fell on Su Jingzhen. If you can practice the Python scale's power here every day, your body cultivation will definitely make rapid progress. And when you can uncover the secrets of this place, you might even gain a not-so-small fortune. Shuangjiang's words left Su Jingzhen both excited and puzzled. Miss Shuangjiang, what is this place? If it's a natural sacred land, why hasn't the Huiyang sect discovered it after all these years? Clear Wind Mountain was dangerous, but for cultivators who had reached a certain level, it was nothing to be concerned about. He believed that even in the deepest parts of Clear Wind Mountain, many cultivators must have explored it. With spiritual energy as thick as this, if powerful cultivators had discovered it, they would have driven away all the demonic beasts and established a sect here long ago. Shuangjiang's mouth curled up in a scornful smile. There was a great man who once slashed out a sword, leaving behind this deep valley. Under the chaotic collision of energies, a natural barrier was formed. The cultivators of this land haven't yet qualified to discover this place. Even if they followed the outer rim of the valley and walked in, they wouldn't be able to enter. Shuangjiang paused, then smiled. I didn't discover it at first either, and thought it was a naturally formed valley. But after getting close and sensing the extremely weak, almost imperceptible sword aura on the rock wall, I had an epiphany. This can be considered a fate tailored for you. Su Jingzhen could sense a hint of excitement in Shuangjiang's tone. In her view, although Su Jingzhen had opened 2 secret repositories, opening secret repositories was ultimately a matter of chance and couldn't be relied upon to improve body cultivation. In Shuangjiang's understanding, cultivating the body was ultimately inferior to cultivating energy. But now she had unexpectedly discovered this strange place, which could be considered a customized fate for Su Jingzhen. At this moment, Su Jingzhen's heart was shaken. A single sword slash could create such a massive, deep valley. What kind of cultivation level would be required to achieve that? As Su Jingzhen's heart was shaken, Shuangjiang's aura remained still, as if she was casually grasping at the void in front of her. A mist condensed in her hand, and Su Jingzhen sensed an extremely powerful sword aura from it. In an instant, the mist condensed into a virtual sword in Shuangjiang's palm. Under Su Jingzhen's astonished gaze, Shuangjiang slapped the sword aura onto his forehead. He only felt a stinging pain on his forehead, and almost thought he was going to die. I've left a mark of this place's energy on you, which can be considered a key to entering and exiting this place. From now on, you should be able to come and go as you please, as I said earlier. If you can fully understand this place, you should be able to protect yourself in this domain. After finishing, Su Jingzhen smiled and put her hands behind her back. But Su Jingzhen sensed a hint of farewell in her tone. Without much excitement, his heart became complicated again. Before he could say anything, Su Jingzhen suddenly walked up to him, patted his shoulder with a heroic air and said, "You're excellent, I look forward to our next meeting." As soon as she said this, Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat again. The feeling of loss and longing grew stronger. His heart was filled with emotions, but before he could speak, Su Jingzhen had already turned around and walked towards the deepest, most misty part of the valley. There was still a lingering warmth on his shoulder, left by Su Jingzhen's palm. But Su Jingzhen's figure was gradually fading away in the mist. Su Jingzhen was very clear that this time, Su Jingzhen was truly not coming back. He had never thought that their parting would come so suddenly, so quickly. "Su Jingzhen, where should I go to find you? You only need to continue getting stronger, and we will meet again." Hearing this already somewhat ethereal voice, Su Jingzhen's face revealed a bitter smile once again. But before he could feel sentimental, golden words suddenly appeared before his eyes. Emotional connection level with Su Jingzhen reached, mutual appreciation. Reward points, 50. Level bonus, 3. Cultivation bonus, 5. Remaining usable points, 249. Seeing the level change this time, Su Jingzhen was stunned on the spot. Had they reached the third level of mutual appreciation at the moment of their final parting? The 50-point reward that came with the level upgrade might be the last gift Su Jingzhen left for him. The level bonus had directly tripled, and the cultivation bonus had increased again. Seeing the fivefold increase, Su Jingzhen's heart trembled once more. What kind of cultivation level had she reached? Moreover, when Su Jingzhen left, Su Jingzhen saw that her face still had intersecting scars. This proved that Su Jingzhen's cultivation had not yet recovered to its peak. His heart trembled again. What kind of realm was Su Jingzhen's peak? However, he felt a pang of regret. If Su Jingzhen could have stayed with him for a few more days at this level of bonus, wouldn't that have been a direct takeoff? That way, each point increase would be 15 points. Alas, although Su Jingzhen's departure was anticipated, especially since she had intentionally bid farewell and given so many instructions, it was still quite unusual. Faced with Su Jingzhen's departure, Su Jingzhen felt a sense of loss deep in his heart. After all, he had long been accustomed to having such a person by his side. Moreover, Su Jingzhen's departure also meant that he, Su Jingzhen, would have to be even more cautious in his actions in the future. The world of cultivation is still too dangerous, and without a powerful ally to rely on, he really needed to keep a low profile. After standing still for a while, Su Jingzhen quickly collected his emotions. Even though he would still need to keep a low profile in the future, it was far better than before he met Su Jingzhen and awakened his golden finger. Currently, with his 8th layer flesh body mysterious embryo strength, he couldn't say he could walk sideways in Linjiang City, but he was at least a minor expert. And now in Linjiang City, probably everyone thought he was a member of the Evil Moon sect. With the Evil Moon sect as his backer, there shouldn't be any short-sighted people coming to trouble him. At worst, he could suffer a little and hide in the Evil Moon sect. With Luoyang there, as long as the Evil Moon sect didn't fall, he should be able to live a comfortable life. Thinking this way, his mood brightened a bit. Then Su Jingzhen's attention shifted to the panel in front of him. Remaining available points, 249. Seeing this, Su Jingzhen couldn't help but feel excited again. He had already reached 249 points. Opening the surging spring acupoint on his right foot only required 200 points. He was already at the point where he could open it at any time. Once the surging spring acupoint on his right foot was opened, he believed his body cultivation would immediately break through the flesh body mysterious embryo and reached the level of flesh-body spiritual embryo. He felt a strong urge to open it immediately. But after glancing at the surrounding faint mist and feeling the sharp intent within it, Su Jingzhen took a deep breath and gave up on this idea. He had absolute trust in Shuangjiang's words. Since Shuangjiang said that practicing Python Scale's power here would lead to great progress, he would listen. Currently, it was peaceful, and the surging spring acupoint on his right foot could be opened at a critical moment. Just like during the previous battle with Chen Jinshi. It could catch others off guard at a critical moment. Forget it, even though there are 249 points now, it would only open one secret at best. It's really not much. It seemed like a lot, but considering he had only opened 2 secret chambers so far. And in the future, spiritual roots and Danshan might require a large number of points. He felt that what he currently had was really too little. Previously, Su Jingzhen had already understood one thing: the golden finger was just a cherry on top. The heights he could reach in the future ultimately depended on himself. I've already crossed over once, sometimes I need to rely on my own efforts to gain some power. With this thought, Su Jingzhen took a deep breath and immediately assumed the posture to practice Python Scale's power. His movements suddenly became agile. At times he resembled a snake, at other times a python, with the power of his blood coursing through his meridians, following the unique circulation path of the Python Scale's power. The extremely dense spiritual energy around him began to converge towards him. The special energy within the thin mist also began to temper his blood and flesh. And the sharp intent in the void seemed to grow even stronger as he practiced Python Scale's power. Tiny blood marks appeared on his skin. After completing one full set, Su Jingzhen was already panting heavily. Just one set made him feel fatigued. This effect was indeed incomparable to outside. Miss Shuangjiang was right, this place is indeed a land of fortune for me. Su Jingzhen muttered to himself, his eyes sparkling. Without hesitation, he practiced Python Scale's power 3 more times. With each repetition, he could feel the changes in his blood and Kai power. Though extremely subtle, it was indeed gradually strengthening. When he felt his stamina nearly depleted, Su Jingzhen stopped. He wasn't familiar with this place and didn't know if there were hidden dangers. If danger arrived when he had no strength left to resist, that would be disastrous. That's enough for now, I'll come back next time. I've spent quite a while here on a whim. Hopefully, Taoist Lu is still waiting for me outside. Otherwise, it would be quite difficult for me to leave Clear Wind Mountain alone. Master Yue, should we go in to find them? At the place where Zhang Ziyu had inscribed words, the Foundation Establishment Evil Cultivator looked at Luo Yuebai and asked. Luo Yuebai still shook his head. No need, you all can return first. There are still many things to be done, and we are short of hands. I can handle this place alone. Luo Yuebai held a folding fan in his hand, showing no signs of impatience. Master Yue, forgive my bluntness, but with your status, there's no need to bother with such people. These guys had been on Clear Wind Mountain for a while, and were unaware of the events happening at the base of the mountain. Seeing Shuangjiang and Su Jingzhen as ordinary cultivators, they naturally felt some dissatisfaction. In their eyes, Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang were not worthy of Master Yue's time and attention. Before he could finish speaking, Luo Yuebai's expression suddenly turned cold. I don't want to hear such words again. They are my friends, and slandering my friends is equivalent to offending me. Get lost, I've said that I can handle this place alone. As he scolded them, a hint of killing intent emerged from Luo Yuebai. His aura locked onto the evil cultivators behind him. Seeing Luo Yuebai suddenly lose his temper, the Foundation Establishment Evil Cultivator's face changed dramatically. His eyes filled with fear. He had no doubt that this master before him would take his head in a fit of anger. In the Evil Moon sect, Luo Yuebai was known for his ferocity. And hearing the word friends from Luo Yuebai's mouth left him deeply shocked. I know my fault, I'll leave immediately. He knew Luo Yuebai well enough to understand that leaving promptly could save his life. Luo Yuebai never pursued matters after telling someone to leave. Staying here any longer would not be wise. These evil cultivators hurriedly fled. Only Luo Yuebai remained in place. Thin mist occasionally drifted by him in the canyon. Though holding a folding fan, Luo Yuebai still looked incredibly handsome. There was always a sense of eeriness about him. This made Su Jingzhen, who was watching from afar, somewhat dazed. He suddenly felt that he had never truly understood what kind of person Luo Yuebai was. Taoist Su with no outsiders around, lurking about like this isn't very appropriate, is it? At this moment, as Su Jingzhen was in a daze, Luo Yuebai's gaze suddenly turned towards his hiding place, a smile playing on his lips. Su Jingzhen smiled bitterly once more. He stepped out from the mist-covered bushes. Given the difference in their cultivation levels, it wasn't surprising that Luo Yuebai had noticed him. Su Jingzhen even felt that Luo Yuebai's scolding of the Foundation establishment, evil cultivator, might have been a performance meant for him. If not for their no-hostility bond, Su Jingzhen might have been even more wary of him. Seeing that it was only Su Jingzhen, Luo Yuebai raised an eyebrow. "Where is Taoist Shuangjiang?" Su Jingzhen chuckled. She said there's a blessed land inside suitable for her cultivation, so she won't be coming back with us for now. Upon hearing this, Luo Yuebai glanced curiously into the depths of the canyon, then smiled without saying much. In his heart, however, he thought, if the evil moon sect hadn't already searched this place thoroughly, I might believe your nonsense, Su Jingzhen. There's no blessed land here. Still, he was somewhat puzzled about Shuangjiang's whereabouts. But he didn't ask further. He tossed his folding fan into the air, and it transformed into a giant fan once more. In that case, let's head back. Su Jingzhen once again sat on Luo Yuebai's folding fan. Soon, they returned to the Huiyang branch sect, or perhaps it should now be called the Evil Moon sect branch. Along the way, Luo Yuebai didn't ask any more questions about Shuangjiang. Smart people don't dig too deeply into such matters. He dropped Su Jingzhen off at the plaza. At this moment, the cultivators of the Evil Moon sect were coming and going, looking quite busy. Many of the iconic buildings of the Huiyang sect had to be dismantled and replaced with those bearing the style and symbols of the Evil Moon sect. Upon arriving here, Su Jingzhen smiled at Luo Yuebai and said, "Taoist Luo, it seems your sect will be quite busy these next few days. I won't disturb you any longer." Luo Yuebai smiled and nodded. At this time, he certainly wouldn't force Su Jingzhen to stay. After all, the Evil Moon sect had just taken over this place, and there were indeed many matters waiting for his command. His attitude towards Su Jingzhen had always been one of patience. There's always time in the future. There are indeed many things to handle, so I won't see you off, Taoist Su. However, in 2 days, my Evil Moon sect might hold a celebration. You must not be absent then. Su Jingzhen cupped his hands again. I will definitely attend. However, a thought suddenly struck him. The Evil Moon sect was the most powerful demonic sect in Qingzhou. Demonic cultivators were generally shunned by the majority of righteous cultivators. To openly hold a celebration for establishing a branch sect, did this imply that the Evil Moon sect intended to challenge the current order of Qingzhou? With these thoughts, he walked towards the grand gate in the distance. 1, 2, 3, boom. Before Su Jingzhen reached the gate, he heard several evil cultivators shouting in unison. The next moment, with a collective effort, they pushed down the grand and imposing gate of the Huiyang branch sect. Su Jingzhen felt a strange sensation in his heart once again. The Huiyang branch sect was the first sect he encountered upon transmigrating into the cultivation world. From today onwards, it would become history. Although he knew that countless sects perished and arose daily in the cultivation world, witnessing such an event for the first time still stirred deep emotions within him. As he walked along the still intact bluestone steps to the main street, a group of people suddenly surrounded him. It was the 8 children from the Enlightenment School and their parents. Su Jingzhen was slightly surprised. These people had apparently been waiting here for him. "Mr. Su, thank you so much. Mr. Su, could these little ones continue their studies at your school?" Zhang. As they crowded around, their eyes shone brightly. The parents pushed the 8 children towards Su Jingzhen. Su Jingzhen raised an eyebrow but maintained his smile. The enlightenment ceremony is over. Although it's a bit regrettable, the results are clear now. They no longer need to come to the school. Seeing the looks in the parents' eyes, Su Jingzhen understood their intentions. But from today onward, Su Jingzhen felt as if he had been reborn. He couldn't see his own path clearly, let alone become a pillar of support for others. It's getting late and the city has been unstable lately. You should head home. After smiling and saying this to them, Su Jingzhen strode forward along the main street. Seeing this, a hint of disappointment flashed in the parents' eyes. As people at the bottom of the cultivation world, their only hope for a turnaround was either to invest in the next generation or to attach themselves to influential figures. Su Jingzhen's actions today had shown that he might have some say in the evil moon sect. To these ordinary people, this made him a lofty figure. Maintaining some kind of relationship with him might make survival a bit easier. But this plan in the end failed. Returning from the end of the main street to the Enlightenment School on Peach Blossom Alley, Su Jingzhen encountered many people along the way. However, compared to before, everyone now looked at him with a mix of curiosity and fear. Many, like those children's parents, also wanted to establish some connection with him. But he merely greeted them with a polite smile, not engaging in deep conversations. The world is bustling with activity, all for profit. The world is full of commotion, all for benefit. Except for certain specific personal relationships, all sudden enthusiasm comes intertwined with interests. Having lived 2 lifetimes, Su Jingzhen understood this very well. Returning to the school and closing the door, he looked at the courtyard's peach tree, now completely devoid of blossoms. Su Jingzhen felt a wave of complex emotions once again. From today, everything will be a new challenge. Shuangjiang was gone, and sister-in-law Xianxia was no longer around. The future depended solely on him. The night was dark as ink. Su Jingzhen looked up at the sky. Tonight the moon was waning and the light was dim. He instinctively started practicing the movements of the Python scale's power. After a few rounds of intense practice, Su Jingzhen managed to dispel the worries from his mind, regaining his usual calm. He then opened the door and entered his meditation room. Despite the recent events, life had to return to normal. He placed the alchemy furnace in the center of the room, as usual. To accumulate points quickly, I still need to interact more with that woman, Feng Qingya, Su Jingzhen muttered to himself with a bitter smile. He then took out the remaining 20 portions of green spirit pill ingredients from his storage bag. By refining pills to earn spirit stones, he could also interact with Feng Qingya. Maybe he could even get some points from her. This was his only goal for the near future. Oh, and he might have to interact with Luoyang too. To train in the canyon in the depths of Clear Wind Mountain, he might still need Luoyang to take him there. Even if he reached the flesh-body spiritual embryo level, he might not be able to fly using a magic weapon. Walking there on foot would take a lot of time. As for everything else, he could only let things take their course. Starting the furnace, lighting the fire, and sensing the ingredients, everything followed the usual routine. Soon, Su Jingzhen entered the state of alchemy. One by one, the green spirit pill ingredients were thrown into the furnace, and soon the fragrance of medicine filled the room. During this session, Su Jingzhen noticed that after reaching the 8th level of flesh-body mysterious embryo in his body cultivation, his control over himself had become much stronger. This enhanced control even made his alchemy movements smoother. In this state, it took him about an hour to successfully turn 20 portions of green spirit pill ingredients into 20 perfect green spirit pills. He still had 50 portions of chiroplenishing pill ingredients that he hadn't had time to refine. But after thinking about it, he decided not to continue. He remembered Shuangjiang's advice to progress steadily and take breaks. Extinguishing the fire in the furnace, he returned it to the corner. Then, Su Jingzhen noticed the 2 jade bottles on the bedside. These were the body-tempering liquids he had bought. One bottle was still full, and the other had about a third left. After a glance, he put them into his storage bag. Tomorrow, I should visit the treasure-gathering pavilion and get a better storage artifact. This one is too small, it can't even fit the alchemy furnace, which is really inconvenient. Last night, Su Jingzhen enjoyed a rare, restful sleep. The next morning, he didn't wake up until the sunlight streamed through the window. The first thing he saw upon opening his eyes was the small golden text floating before him. Time left until the host's Danshan shatters, 493 days. The reminder about his Danshan was always pinned at the top, emphasizing its importance. However, as usual, Su Jingzhen ignored it. Next came the daily fixed points update. Daily fixed points, Shuangjiang, 15 Zhangzhu, for Feng Qingye 2 Luo Yuebai, 2. Remaining usable points, 272. Although he had known the results, seeing the points actually added to his panel still made his heart race with excitement. This was incredible, waking up every day to 23 points. This was something he wouldn't have dared to imagine in the past. Life is meant to get better and better. I need to quietly accumulate my strength and amaze the entire cultivation world one day. A confident smile appeared on Su Jingzhen's lips. A wild ambition quietly took root in his heart. Quietly accumulating power with his golden finger, and then exploding in a dazzling display, stunning everyone, that was indeed the most exhilarating thing he could think of at the moment. Facing the morning sun, he practiced a few rounds of Python scales power under the peach tree. As the saying goes, it's easy to go from frugality to extravagance, but difficult to go from extravagance to frugality. After experiencing the effects of practicing Python scales power in the peculiar environment of the canyon, the results he got in Peach Blossom Alley were now extremely unsatisfactory to Su Jingzhen. The same technique, performed in different places, yielded vastly different results. In comparison, practicing in Peach Blossom Alley felt like a complete waste of time to Su Jingzhen. He thought to himself that he should frequently visit the peculiar environment in the canyon. After finishing his practice, Su Jingzhen instinctively went to the kitchen to make some food, only to find that he had used up all the ingredients the day before. With a wry smile, he tidied himself up and left the school. Today, going to the market had a purpose. Although Su Jingzhen now held a significant position in Linjiang City, he still donned his usual black cloak before heading to the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion. However, upon stepping onto the main street, Su Jingzhen noticed that there were noticeably fewer pedestrians. The people commonly seen wearing black cloaks like his were almost nowhere to be found. The Clear Wind Mountain incident had ended, and while some still wanted to pick up any leftover treasures, most had already left and returned to their usual places. Su Jingzhen also noticed that some familiar shops on the main street had closed down, their owners having fled Linjiang City with their belongings overnight. He raised an eyebrow, understanding the situation. With the Evil Moon sect now ruling Linjiang City, fear and uncertainty were widespread. Many people believed that the demonic cultivators of Evil Moon sect were all ruthless and evil. Staying in the city under their rule seemed like a dangerous gamble. Hence, escaping while Evil Moon sect was still busy elsewhere seemed like the best option. Su Jingzhen knew that in the next couple of days, anyone with some means or connections would likely leave Linjiang City. Ultimately, those remaining would be the truly lower-tier cultivators in the early or middle stages of Kai refining, who couldn't survive in other cultivator gatherings and could only gamble their lives here. In such chaos, while it's easy to lose one's life, it also brings opportunities. Whether these people can seize them remains to be seen, Su Jingzhen mused to himself as he quickly arrived at the entrance of the treasure-gathering pavilion. Regardless of how deserted the streets were, the treasure-gathering pavilion and the neighboring Flower Moon pavilion seemed unaffected. The female cultivators on the second-floor terrace of Flower Moon pavilion continued to flaunt themselves, and there were still queues at the various counters inside the treasure-gathering pavilion. This was perhaps the confidence brought by the backing of powerful forces. Su Jingzhen walked into the treasure-gathering pavilion with practiced ease and headed to the staircase at the back of the first-floor hall. Amidst the envious and curious glances of others, he easily ascended to the second floor using his alchemist badge. Upon reaching the second-floor landing, he saw Feng Qingye holding a cyan jade cup, sitting on a chair by the staircase. Feng Qingye greeted Su Jingzhen with a smile, making him pause in surprise. It seemed as though she had been waiting for him specifically. Master Su, good morning. We're old acquaintances now, so why do you still come here dressed like this? Feng Qingye spoke with her usual seductive smile, though there was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Today, Feng Qingye had decided to understand Su Jingzhen's true nature. Previously, no matter how much she tried to charm him at the treasure-gathering pavilion, he remained as calm as a monk. However, at Qiuliu school, he had behaved like a lovesick fool. These two extremes were too disparate. Since she intended to bring Su Jingzhen under her influence, she needed to gauge his depths accurately. Upon hearing her words, Su Jingzhen removed his cloak without hesitation. Indeed, there was no need for pretense here. You make fun of me, Miss Feng. I'm just naturally cautious, he replied with a slight smile. Without waiting for her to speak further, he produced a jade bottle from his storage pouch. I came to trade with you again, Miss Feng. Shall we do it here or at our usual spot? Seeing the jade bottle in his hand, Feng Qingye's eyes lit up slightly. She set down her jade cup and walked over to him with a graceful, willow-like movement. Her scent reached him before she did. Has Master Su refined more pills? Then of course, let's use our usual spot. It's more convenient there. She blinked at him, her tone carrying a hint of shyness. In her demeanor, the phrase usual spot seemed to carry a subtle, ambiguous undertone. Within the treasure-gathering pavilion, Feng Qingye's clothing was always minimal, bold, passionate, and uninhibited. As she walked ahead, her perfect figure was accentuated by her tight-fitting dress, with her rounded curves swaying gently with each step. Su Jingzhen tried to avert his gaze, focusing instead on the carpet beneath their feet. Yet he couldn't help but notice her bare, jade-like feet, smooth and gleaming, as if one hand could encompass them completely. He swallowed nervously, realizing that today's transaction would be a true test of his resolve. Feng Qingye, in some respects, was far more formidable than Luo Yuebai. With Shuangjiang gone and facing Feng Qingye alone, Su Jingzhen suddenly found himself doubting his ability to maintain his composure. Feng Qingye brought Su Jingzhen back to the same private room as last time. She sat down in her original seat, leaning slightly against the chair with a sincere demeanor. Her chest appeared even more honest. At this moment, Su Jingzhen looked at his nose and his heart. Although there was a smile on her face, her eyes were clear. She pushed the jade bottle in front of Feng Qingye. I refined some more last night. Miss Feng, please calculate. Su Jingzhen naturally knew that such a top-quality pill could be settled in the lobby on the first floor. But he still wanted to buy something from Feng Qingye. Moreover, Feng Qingye had said that as long as he came, no matter how small the matter was, he could come directly to the second floor to find her. Su Jingzhen wouldn't be polite about this. After all, if he was lucky, he could get some extra points from her. Why not take advantage of it? A hint of curiosity flashed in Feng Qingye's eyes as she directly took the jade bottle and opened it. A rich medicinal fragrance wafted out. She could easily perceive that there were 20 pills in the bottle. Green spirit pill. Didn't Master Su come to trade last time? When did he get more medicinal materials? She clearly remembered that she had only sold 50 portions of green spirit pill materials and 50 portions of chiraplenishing pill materials to Su Jingzhen before. She had thought that the 20-odd green spirit pills traded by Su Jingzhen last time were the product of those 50 medicinal materials. Subconsciously, she thought that Su Jingzhen had quietly come to buy medicinal materials again. But seeing the unchanged smile on Su Jingzhen's face, she felt another shock in her heart. An unbelievable thought suddenly arose in her mind. Did Master Su refine 45 pills from the 50 portions of green spirit pill materials last time? At this moment, Feng Qingye suddenly felt dry in her mouth, her face full of astonishment. Although Su Jingzhen had demonstrated 100% success rate in refining chiraplenishing pills in this private room before. But at that time, she didn't know how many chiraplenishing pills Su Jingzhen had refined before. And that time, there were 10 portions of chiraplenishing pill materials, which was still a bit less, and there might have been some luck involved. But this green spirit pill... Feng Qingye knew very well that Su Jingzhen purchased the pill formulas along with the medicinal materials. The current fact proved to Feng Qingye that Su Jingzhen had only wasted 5 portions of medicinal materials, and then maintained a terrifying 100% success rate in pill refinement. What kind of concept was this? She couldn't imagine it. At this moment, when she looked at Su Jingzhen again, her eyes were already filled with fervor. She deeply understood that such a monster was fully qualified to help her. Her heart was already shocked beyond measure, but at this moment, Feng Qingye quickly regained her composure on her face, and still wore that charming smile. However, in front of Su Jingzhen, a line of golden text suddenly flashed. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining available points, 278. Su Jingzhen felt slightly delighted in his heart, but more so was a sense of emotion. With such a triple hit, if it were the current Shuangjiang, wouldn't that be 45 points in an instant? But here with Feng Qingye, he had to start cultivating from scratch. Moreover, Feng Qingye's cultivation level was much lower than Shuangjiang's, which was a big drawback in terms of cultivation bonuses. But even a mosquito, no matter how small, was meat, and there was promise here with Feng Qingye. After all, just a bottle of green spirit pill could trigger her triple hit. There would be many more points in the future that could surprise her. Accumulating little by little wasn't bad either. At this moment, seeing that Su Jingzhen didn't respond to her, Feng Qingye assumed he had tacitly agreed. Without waiting for Su Jingzhen to ask again, she took the initiative to say, although the heat of Clear Wind Mountain has passed, the prices of consumables have indeed dropped a bit. But Qingye has said before that as long as Master Su comes, we will trade at the top price. So these 20 green spirit pills, Qingye still counts them as 15 low-grade spirit stones each. A total of 300 low-grade spirit stones. What does Master Su think? Su Jingzhen naturally had no objections and thanked her with a bow. Thank you. He knew that these 20 green spirit pills could be sold for 300 low-grade spirit stones, which was indeed treasure gathering pavilion, or Feng Qingye, voluntarily giving him a bonus. But before Feng Qingye could take out the spirit stones, he said, apart from selling this bottle of green spirit pills, I also want to buy some things from Miss Feng. Upon hearing this, a hint of curiosity flashed in Feng Qingye's eyes again. When Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang first came here, they bought 2 bottles of body-tempering fluid, and the second time, they bought that strange black brick. Both were niche goods, but it seemed to have played out remarkably well on Su Jingzhen. Curious about what Su Jingzhen would buy this time. Does Miss Feng have a better storage treasure? The storage bag I have is indeed a bit small, and it's a bit inconvenient to use. As Su Jingzhen spoke, he took out the storage bag from his waist and shook it. This thing couldn't even fit a pill furnace, and was truly unworthy of his status. With Feng Qingye's keen eyesight, she could naturally see that this was indeed the lowest grade, smallest capacity storage bag. She became more certain in her heart that Su Jingzhen must have started to rise because of Shuangjiang's arrival. She also became more convinced that Su Jingzhen was indeed a novice in cultivation. Her thoughts became more active. It's Qingye's fault. After so many encounters, I didn't notice that Master Su was still using such a low-grade storage bag, which is really not appropriate. After apologizing, the royal blue ring on her finger flashed. Several exquisite rings appeared on the table in front of them. All storage rings. And they all seemed to be of high grade. Su Jingzhen's eyes suddenly narrowed. Damn, what is a wealthy woman, this is it. Although Su Jingzhen had never owned one before, he could tell that these rings were probably extremely expensive. Feng Qingye smiled again. Qingye happens to have a few unused rings here. Master Su, pick one, consider it a careless apology from Qingye. As she spoke, Feng Qingye's eyes sent a hidden message, and her eyes suddenly became more seductive. And her body leaned forward slightly, with a hint of white chest faintly visible. It shook Su Jingzhen's heart wildly. Clear heart like water, clear water is the heart, no wind rises, no waves stir. He silently recited the clear heart technique again. He originally thought that after the formal transaction, Feng Qingye would still prioritize the trade, and her previous behavior was indeed all proper and appropriate. He never expected this sudden glimpse of beauty, which was the easiest way to make him unstable. Just now, he really almost made a fool of himself. After reciting the clear heart technique a few times, he forced himself to calm down. He still maintained a smile on his lips. No effort, no gain. I really can't afford these few storage rings. If Miss Feng has some lower-grade storage bracelets, that would be even better. If not, then forget it. Offering help without being asked is either improper or dishonest. The so-called apology from Feng Qingye, in Su Jingzhen's eyes, was nothing but hot air. Feng Qingye didn't owe him anything. Why should she give away a precious storage ring for nothing? He indeed wanted to get some points from Feng Qingye, but he deeply understood the meaning of step by step. Su Jingzhen was not opposed to wealthy women. But he didn't want to be enslaved by a wealthy woman with material possessions. Seeing that Su Jingzhen remained calm, with a hint of determination in his attitude, Feng Qingye was slightly taken aback. Her heart was even more surprised. Immediately, she directly collected the few storage rings. Undoubtedly, she regarded Su Jingzhen with even more respect. It's worth noting that the storage rings she took out were probably just slightly better than the sapphire ring she was wearing. For ordinary people, seeing them would have surely made their hearts unstable. Yet Su Jingzhen remained calm, which was truly commendable. He, Master Su, forgive me, it was indeed Qingye's oversight. If Master Su wants a storage bracelet, I also have some fine goods here. Before her words fell, the sapphire ring in Feng Qingye's hand flashed again. Several bracelets of different colors, but equally exquisite, appeared on the table. She knew that given Su Jingzhen's personality when he first came here, if she teased him again, he might just leave. But she became even more puzzled. Was this Su Jingzhen really a true gentleman, or was she incapable? Feng Qingye was very clear about the charm she had just displayed, combined with her own capital, how powerful that kind of charm could be. But Su Jingzhen remained unmoved. At the same time as she was puzzled, Feng Qingye felt a sense of frustration. Seeing the 7 or 8 bracelets on the table, Su Jingzhen's eyes suddenly lit up. Seeing this, Feng Qingye smiled again. These bracelets are all fine goods, with little difference in space. Master Su, feel free to try them. Su Jingzhen didn't hesitate and directly grabbed 2, probing his spiritual consciousness into them. He became increasingly surprised, because most of these bracelets had spaces of around 5 cubic feet. And the spaces seemed extremely stable. To be honest, these storage bracelets were not considered very advanced, but they were very suitable for his current cultivation level. They wouldn't attract the attention of stronger cultivators, and if they did, he could handle them. After looking around casually and finding no faults in quality, he simply chose a black one that suited him better. This one will do. How many spirit stones does Miss Feng want for it? Feng Qingye smiled again. The bracelets Qingye brought out this time are not considered high grade, but they feel suitable for Master Su's cultivation level. The 20 green spirit pills just now should cover it. As she spoke, Feng Qingye's voice remained soft, with a hint of charm on her face. Every gesture, every smile, and even just sitting there perfectly embodied the word desire. Clear heart like water, clear water is the heart. Su Jingzhen silently recited the clear heart technique in his mind while dealing with Feng Qingye. Of course, he had no objection to Feng Qingye's proposal. If Feng Qingye was willing to sell at a loss like this, then Su Jingzhen would happily accept it. He deeply understood that the quality of these storage bracelets alone was definitely worth more than 300 low-grade spirit stones. He smiled again. Miss Feng does business like this. If I Su come a few more times, won't your Linjiang City branch of the treasure-gathering pavilion go bankrupt? There was a hint of probing in his joking tone. If Master Su can really bankrupt the Linjiang branch of treasure-gathering pavilion, it would be Qingye's voluntary decision. As she spoke, Feng Qingye blinked her eyes flirtatiously at Su Jingzhen. Su Jingzhen's heart was overwhelmed. Suddenly, golden characters appeared before his eyes. Emotional connection +2. Remaining points 280. At this moment, 2 more points appeared again. As he silently recited the clear heart technique, he looked at Feng Qingye again and spoke. Apart from the storage bracelet, Su wishes to purchase another item from Miss Feng. Originally, she thought that after Su Jingzhen obtained what he wanted, he would immediately leave, just like last time. Upon hearing this, a hint of curiosity once again appeared in Feng Qingye's eyes. Master Su, feel free to speak. We are all old acquaintances, and you don't have to be so polite to Qingye. This statement, spoken in Feng Qingye's current tone, was also full of ambiguity. Su Jingzhen's expression became slightly serious. I wish to try a second-grade pill. Therefore, I would like to obtain a prescription for a second-grade pill from Miss Feng. Is it possible? As soon as this was said, the room fell silent. The coquettishness on Feng Qingye's face disappeared in an instant. It was replaced by solemnity. Every time an alchemist advanced a grade, their status underwent an earth-shaking change. And the significance of this was extremely significant. Ordinary first-grade alchemists, if they were in front of Feng Qingye, she might not care much. From start to finish, she only cared about Su Jingzhen's terrifying 100% success rate in pill refinement. Moreover, Su Jingzhen's advancement from first grade to second grade with a 100% success rate was, in her eyes, absolutely significant. It was not just a matter of a prescription. After a moment of stunned silence, a hint of unparalleled surprise appeared in Feng Qingye's heart again. If Su Jingzhen could really successfully advance to the second grade and maintain a super high success rate in pill refinement, then perhaps he could help her a little now. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining points 286. Without any surprises, it directly triggered a 3-hit combo from Feng Qingye. Seeing the points increase, Su Jingzhen didn't have much emotional fluctuation. He deeply understood what Feng Qingye valued most about him. In related matters, she always had the most emotional changes, hence the points naturally came. Master Su is about to advance to the second grade. Are you confident? At this moment, Feng Qingye felt like she was a little awkward in speaking. Su Jingzhen smiled. Naturally, there is no certainty, but it's always worth a try. Su wishes for many things, but the family background is truly too thin, and I am just struggling to survive. Feng Qingye laughed again. If an alchemist with a success rate close to 100% can only be considered struggling to survive, then 80% of the cultivators in the cultivation world should feel ashamed to death. After joking, Feng Qingye's expression suddenly became serious again. I do have it, and Qingye can give it to Master Su for free, but after Master Su successfully advances, can you help Qingye with a small favor? As she said this, there was a hint of expectation in Feng Qingye's eyes. Su Jingzhen frowned slightly. Miss Feng, could you be more specific? Ambiguous words, Su Jingzhen dared not casually agree. He might be a novice in cultivation, but he wasn't foolish. Feng Qingye's expression was slightly serious, hesitating again. Can Master Su promise Qingye first? Qingye will absolutely not harm you. Even for Master Su, this would be a great opportunity. However, to her surprise, as soon as these words were spoken, Su Jingzhen stood up directly. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the video and comment down if anything wrong in the story.